Sports Report Saturday mornings at 8 on FM Talk 106.5.
The safety is off. There's a round in the chamber. This is Armed Alabama. Sponsored by McCoy Outdoor Company, Mobile's hometown full-line outdoor sporting products and gear store. An interactive talk show discussing self-defense, product reviews, shooting tips, safety, and more. Your calls, comments, and texts welcome at 343-0106. Now, here are your hosts, retired judge and certified NRA instructor Rusty Johnston and certified NRA law enforcement instructor Adam Strange.
Welcome to the May 10th version of Armed Alabama, where we talk about pistols, rifles, shotguns, ammunition, self-defense training, and attacks on our fundamental rights to protect ourselves and our families. Using firearms, of course. I'm Rusty Johnston, a retired Alabama Circuit Judge, former director of the 13th Judicial Circuit Court Police, and an NRA certified instructor in pistols and personal defense in the home. I'm joined by my co-host, NRA law enforcement instructor Adam Strange, and we got a show for you tonight. There'll be no PC and no Marxism in this program tonight. Adam, we had a great class this past Saturday, Self-Defense Level 1, and I think we've got one of our students on the line, and we'll hear from her in just a moment. But why don't you give us a report on that class as well as a couple of other things that you've got on your plate?
Yes, sir. We conducted a self-defense class this past Saturday, May 7th, at the Three Brothers Range on Highway 59 north near Stapleton, north of I-10 interstate. Judge, as we know, we had a full class. There were still some folks that we had to turn away. We hated to do that, but we just kind of got bombarded, and we were just overwhelmed with the number of calls and emails and everything that we had. But we wanted to kind of limit the class. This was the first time at Three Brothers Range, and it was a nice range. It was a beautiful day to be there. But we kind of limited the class for everybody's safety, but we still had a great deal of students that attended our class. And, we will be conducting another class very soon, so listen out. Watch out for it on our Facebook page and our website. And if you would like to be on our mailing list for future class notifications, you can email me at adam@armedalabama, or you can email the judge, is the judge@armedalabama.com. Like I said, it was a beautiful day to be at the range, and we want to thank Three Brothers Arms for their hospitality. We were teaching the concealed carry and home defense course, level 1. Of course, our program is nothing like anything that you've ever seen before. We really focus on defensive shooting, making everyone a gunfighter. And our program is process based. We focus on concealed carry and home defense engagements 10 feet or less, and distress and everything that goes along with that, and the different dynamics associated with that kind of encounter. Of course, the judge brought the Castle Doctrine, talked about Alabama law, Alabama Code 13A. Judge, when we spoke with the different students who attended the class, and I asked why they were there and what they wanted out of the class. They wanted to learn about, of course, Alabama 13A, which I was in the right spot to hear your dissertation on that. And they also were worried about the crime and expressed a desire to learn to defend themselves properly in case of a violent crime was committed against them or against their family. And with a mother and a 2-year-old shot during a home invasion just this last week, and several armed robberies during the same period. Plus, Judge, there was another murder committed in Mobile this past weekend. I think those students' worries were well-founded. And I do believe that everyone enjoyed the class, and they felt like when they left from there that they could actually defend themselves or defend their family against an intruder or against a burglar or someone committing a violent crime against them.
And let me tell you, they were a good group of students, too. They were quick. They caught on good. I was very impressed with them, because we've had some that took a little more work than this group. All of them were real good, and we had a beautiful day, too. That always helps.
Yes, sir, absolutely. It just kind of puts you in the mood for it. And I think we have one of our students is online right now, Cheryl. Cheryl, you attended our class this past Saturday.
Yes, I did.
Well, what did you think, Cheryl?
I thought it was great. I mean, learning the accessibility and attitude really helped me. I had never fired a gun before, except maybe a BB gun or a gun. And my husband's trying to get me to learn how to use a gun for self-defense. And I was always scared of guns, and y'all helped me get over that.
Right. I tell you, same thing with my wife. When it was time for her to learn how to shoot a gun, I didn't try to do that. I sent her to Adam because I knew that we would have a conflict.
Right.
Right. And
one thing with the class is, we concentrate on not just shooting a target, but getting people in the mindset. And you mentioned that, Cheryl, getting individuals in the mindset to kind of wrap their brain around the fact that, they're there to learn how to use that firearm in defense of themselves, and that's the focus of our program.
Right. Well, it really helped me. And, y'all telling me that we had seconds to defend ourselves.
Right.
And how to load a firearm and how to keep a firearm in different places of your house, not just by your bed.
Right.
But the picture that Adam did show about how someone had a holster by their bed and another gun up to their bed.
I'm afraid that was my wife. But that's all right.
Say that.
Yeah. That's probably against me that she has all that.
But, I've heard so many policemen say that when somebody breaks in your house when you're not home, they always look in the bedside table by your bed because that's where everybody keeps their firearms. So I learned, to keep it somewhere not there, but have it accessible, and how to have like a safe room.
Right.
And how to put the blocks on the door, have a gun in your bathroom. He showed us how to hang it, how to have a gun in your den that's not around small children. So whatever room you're in, if something happens, you have a gun accessible.
Right, right. So many people have it in that bedside table drawer, and then if they are subject to a home invasion, there's no way to get to the bedroom.
Right.
Well, we did not set this up, folks. Cheryl just called in. We were surprised as anybody. Cheryl, we thank you a bunch for calling in. And,
absolutely.
We're going to be in touch with you and try to get you in some more classes.
Okay. Well, tell the judge not to make the test too hard when he sends it.
We'll do that. Thank you. All right. Sounds like you really enjoyed the class, Judge.
I think so. I'm glad we got her. I'm glad we talked to her about perhaps having her on the show one time. We've got another caller. Do you think we have time to get him in?
Yeah, absolutely.
Remember, the phone number is 343-0106. Text or call. All right. We have the ad man on the phone. Yes, sir.
I have a specific question.
Go ahead.
It's my understanding that in the state of Alabama, even if you are a convicted felon, you have the right to have a rifle in your home. Is that correct?
No. You, under Alabama law.
Yes. Alabama, not federal
and
law,
it would
Alabama.
depends on what crime you've been convicted of. If you've been convicted of a nonviolent felony under Alabama law, you can even have a handgun. The problem is under federal law, here's the problem about the federal government moving into every aspect of our lives. Okay, under federal law, every felony bars you from having any access to any firearm, including shotgun or rifle.
I understand.
Yeah.
So the next question is this. As I understand it, that they're selling marijuana in Colorado.
Oh, I know what you're going to say.
State of Washington, Alaska, and so forth.
It's a clash between states.
There are federal laws that say that you can't sell marijuana or you can't smoke marijuana. But these states are doing it, and the federal government is not prosecuting these people. And,
well, let me give you one better. It'll probably be after the break.
Were given to the federal government by the state.
Yeah, right. Listen after the break, and I've got more problems with that I'll talk to you about. You hang up, but I'll listen I'll give you some more after the break because it's more complicated than you're even thinking about it. Adam, anything before we go?
Just give us a call, 343-0106, or you can text us. We'll be back after this commercial break. This is Armed Alabama.
Longleaf pine is the South's original pine tree, towering over all others. Vast clear-cutting logging operations in the first half of the last century destroyed these beautiful longleaf forests, some well over 100 years old. Their wood sent to New England, New York, and Europe. Many Southerners have no memory of the magnificent longleaf forests that covered the South. The America's Longleaf Restoration Initiative is a concerted effort to restore and conserve longleaf pine forests. The best part is, it's working. For more info, visit americaslongleaf.org. Looking for land, commercial space, or a home to purchase? Or do you have real estate that you would like to sell? Then you need to talk with Mamoon Siddiq at RE/MAX Partners, 7221 Grelot Road, Suite B. Mamoon is dedicated to providing his clients trustworthy real estate expertise and professional, dependable service. Whether buying or selling your primary residence or a second home, or relocating to a new neighborhood, Mamoon can help make your home ownership dreams come true. Email Mamoon at remax.net. That's MAMUN at remax.net. When buying a vehicle, don't waste your valuable time. David Parnell at Palmer's Toyota is committed to getting you the best deal on a new, used, or leased car. And David will do that without wasting your time. Don't play the back and forth game. See David Parnell today. Palmer's Toyota, 470 Schillinger Road South. That's David Parnell at Palmer's Toyota, 639-0800, extension 168. Don't forget to see David Parnell at Palmer's Toyota, Schillinger Road, just south of Airport. He won't waste your time.
Step up to the firing line. Armed Alabama is back. Questions, comments, and texts at 343-0106.
I like you, Philip. But be assured, bite my hand, and I will put you down. Your division is in charge of native crime. Or would you rather I was in charge of native crime? I don't think you'd like my methods.
That's the creepy man from Fringe, if you remember, threatening Philip there, our Fringe agent. Welcome back to Armed Alabama. Let me follow up on that last call quickly. The problem is when the federal government once again overreached and usurped state authority back, we're just past 100 years of it, with the various drug acts. They outlawed everywhere opium, all the drugs. That is a state issue, in my opinion. Well, the states that have legalized marijuana, if you're using marijuana pursuant to a doctor's prescription and you go to, for instance, purchase a handgun or purchase any type gun from a federal firearms dealer, you fill out a form. And I can't remember, 45, whatever it is. You're going to have to answer yes, no, I am not, I think it says using or addicted to any unlawful drugs or narcotics. If you answer that no, you're actually lying and you're committing a felony. That's where we're going to have a real clash. Even if you're not, let's say, addicted, stoned, whatever, if you're just using it pursuant to a doctor's prescription, you can only use marijuana as a part of an experimental trial, is my understanding, according to the federal government. They don't recognize any of the states that have, quote, legalized it. They may not be arresting people, but they don't recognize their right to make it legal. One thing I want to mention is we've got kind of a project going. If you see any signs that have the whatever they have on it, if they say no guns in this area, no firearms, no open carry, especially if they happen to have a sheriff's name or district attorney's name on them, those tend to happen a little further north than here. Those signs are fake. They're invalid. They're not authorized by Alabama law. We're going to start a project of collecting those, and we're probably going to do something about them. If you would take a picture of those signs, everybody's got a cell phone. Take a good picture, though. A lot of them we're getting on an angle, and send those to, let me make sure it's reports at armedalabama.com. That's reports at armedalabama.com. Any signs that say no guns, gun-free zone, anything like that, except on the federal building, obviously, or the courthouse or a police station. All right, let's take a call quick from Randy. Randy, you're on there.
Hey, thank you for taking my call. Love
Sure.
the show.
Thank you.
My question is, I'm a lifelong hunter and reloader, and I've always been told that for my concealed carry or personal defense weapons, I should keep them loaded with factory ammo rather than my reloaded stuff, because a prosecutor or even a defense attorney for a criminal could say that the ammunition I make is too deadly or too dangerous.
Well,
Your thought?
yeah, I know
that?
I call that the Masab Ayub myth. There has never been a case that we've been able to find where that issue has been raised.
Good.
You know, you are using deadly force, and if it causes someone to die, that was your right to do that. So
Exactly.
I can't imagine how the argument gets in, well, you used too strong of a charge that caused this man to die. That's now, you know, there's an argument to say, well, if it has to be tested later, you know, if you like your particular reload and you have confidence in it, I wouldn't buy it from somebody else. I'm not a reloader.
Right.
But you're doing it yourself. I wouldn't see a problem with that.
And I'm doing it for accuracy.
Yeah, you've got a lot more things to worry about than that. But I know exactly where you're coming from on that.
Thank you very much.
Sure,
right,
thank you,
Randy.
Good call.
We have another call, Brian. Hi, Brian. Welcome to Armed Alabama.
Oh, thank you for taking my call. I've got a couple of questions, and then I'll get off the phone and let you answer them. I heard you had a class. I'm interested in possibly entering the next class. How do you sign up for the class, and how much is it? My second question was, how reliable, I know you can't really say whether a brand of firearm is good or not good, but what do you think about the LCP 380? I've heard that it tends to misfire a lot, but I'm really interested in possibly purchasing.
On that issue, this is the judge. I can tell you, the recommendation really is to try to use actually the soft lead bullets in those guns rather than the open hollow points that tend to hang up on those small 380s. And I know that's not as glamorous, but you're going to probably have to really look around or order those. They're just soft lead like the L38s. And they'll
just like a target load.
Yeah, kind of, right, or like a hunting load.
Yeah.
But they won't get hung up in the 380s.
They feed better in the feed round.
Right, there you go. So that's what I would look for. Accuracy always, I mean, the most accurate gun has the longest barrel normally. So if you're looking at but from functioning properly, I think the gun's fine, but I would try those. And, you know, try a box full first. Any self-defense round, you ought to run at least a box full of them through there, preferably a couple, to make sure they feed properly.
Yeah, because target rounds is one thing, but defensive rounds is another. Some of the defensive rounds, especially for 9mm or 40 or whatever, they are a lot heavier in weight.
He asked about self-defense too.
Yeah. So the self-defense classes, if you're interested in the self-defense class, Brian, you can email me at it's Adam@armedalabama.com, and we will put you on our mailing list. And as we schedule these classes, it would be level 1, level 2, or level 3 handgun, a shotgun, or a patrol rifle class. You'll definitely know about it.
Okay, great. Well,
thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Brian.
Adam, we had our poll, and I'm sad to announce it really doesn't matter now. Senate Bill 14, which would have allowed carrying of your pistol in your car without a permit, died in the House yesterday. And but our polls, 75% of the people that answered our poll or voted in our poll were for it. 25% were against it. That's the 6th year, though, it's been killed by various members of the House. So that's...
And that's a shame, too, because I think that law would have been a good law, and it would have kind of put us in alignment with all the other states, the neighboring states in the area. Mississippi, Louisiana, and Georgia, I think, was the other one.
Yeah, the only states in the South that did not have it were North Carolina and Alabama.
Okay.
Let me mention this week's poll is some states have what you call constitutional carry, which means you don't need a permit as long as you can legally own a gun. Would you favor or oppose going to a system of constitutional carry in Alabama? Yes or no? Go to armedalabama.com, and that's on the front page of that. And that's a hot issue around the country right now. Remember, if you see any of these signs, I don't care where they are, where either businesses have posted them themselves or government buildings, because not all government buildings are entitled to be no-gun zones. Just take your camera, take a picture, send them to us at reports@armedalabama.com, and preferably give us the location of them. And unless you need to stay anonymous, tell us your contact information in case we need some more information about where it is, and send it to reports@armedalabama.com. If you can't remember that, go to the website, and you can pick up the address from there.
Judge, speaking of hot issues, it's kind of come out that Facebook has been suppressing conservative news feed on the Facebook pages or other conservative issues. Judge, you and I
know about that.
Oh, yeah, we have talked. The judge and I have talked on several occasions about Facebook suppressing firearms items, suppressing classes that we've advertised in the past over the last
give you a perfect one.
5 years.
I placed an ad for one of our something to do with us, and I used the term ASS, smart ass, which you can say, FCC allows you to say. Facebook took 18 hours to report to me, and they didn't underline the word or tell me what it was, that I perhaps had profanity in the ad. Never told me what it was. Well, I figured it out. I removed it. Took 12 more hours to approve the ad. So it was 24 hours, and the ad was going to run 5 days.
Yeah, and I had placed an ad one time, actually several times I had placed an ad on Facebook, and it was rejected. And Facebook come back and said, hey, this is dealing with firearms. We can't have the firearms on there. And, of course, I went into, at that point, a lengthy email conversation back and forth with the Facebook administrator saying I was making the advertisement for the proper use of firearms and advocating that. So why are you keeping me from running the ad? So it was quite lengthy discussion on that. And I had to reword the advertisement several times so it would pass. And it took 2 or 3 days to do that.
If you were having a protest against some government because they had banned transgender bathrooms, it would have been approved immediately.
Well, I think this is just another instance where the regular media or now social media outlets are suppressing conservative issues, conservative conversations, conservative news feeds, or what have you. And Facebook is not the only place that does it. It's happening all over.
The banks do it with anything firearm related. A lot of the big banks just will not open an account for a gun store. You want to try to get this caller in before I break?
No, we got to go back to break right now, so we'll catch him when we come back.
Get back with you, caller, after the break.
This is Armed Alabama.
They're walking on the fighting side of me, running down a way of life our fighting men have fought and died to keep. If you don't love it, leave it. Let this song that I'm singing be a warning. When you're running down
FM Talk 106.5, the Gulf Coast Weather Authority, and Dr. Bill Williams.
We'll look for isolated evening thunderstorms, then becoming partly cloudy with lows in the mid-60s at daybreak. For Wednesday, mostly sunny with highs in the mid-80s, and the outlook for Thursday, mostly sunny again with afternoon readings in the mid-80s. This is meteorologist Dr. Bill Williams for FM Talk 1065.
FM Talk 1065, the Gulf Coast Weather Authority.
A 17-year veteran of law enforcement took the stand today in Baldwin County to defend himself against charges of being in possession of child pornography and having sex with a child under the age of 12. Hello, everyone. I'm Mel Showers, News 5 for FM Talk 1065. Tim Gavin was an Orange Beach police officer when he was arrested for alleged sex crimes involving children. On the stand today, he told jurors he didn't know why he showed porn to young boys and girls or why he had inappropriate contact with them. But he said the children were making up most of the stories. Bus service in Pritchard ends in just 5 days. According to Mobile City Council President Gina Gregory, Mobile is justified in ending the service. Pritchard has filed suit against Mobile for using Pritchard demographics to qualify for grant money. I'm Mel Showers, News 5 for FM Talk 1065.
If your spine is in a bind, it's time to be aligned. For 20 years, Dr. Justin Foster has been diagnosing and taking care of spinal problems. Misaligned vertebrae can hurt due to a strain or sprain from an accident, or be injured by repeated use and can lead to a pinched nerve if not fixed. Pinched nerves can cause a series of discomforts, including decreased flexibility, headaches, muscle, joint, disc, and nerve pain. Foster Chiropractic of Tillman's Corner, easy to find across from Lowe's off Rangeline. Longleaf pine is the South's original pine tree, towering over all others. Vast clear-cutting logging operations in the first half of the last century destroyed these beautiful longleaf forests, some well over 100 years old. Their wood sent to New England, New York, and Europe. Many Southerners have no memory of the magnificent longleaf forests that covered the South. The America's Longleaf Restoration Initiative is a concerted effort to restore and conserve longleaf pine forests. The best part is, it's working. For more info, visit americaslongleaf.org.
Jack Green is here to talk to you about saving money on your insurance. Jack, where are you?
I'm on the roof.
Jack, I know you can save people money in a single bound, but you're taking this too far. Rick, this is dangerous. Where is he going?
Where no insurance agency has gone before.
The emergency room? Jack, come down immediately.
Okay, be down in a minute.
Rick, I was talking with someone just the other day who was telling me how their insurance rates have continued to go up every year. I told her she needed to call Jack Green Insurance and compare.
It's always smart to look at your insurance every year. Typically, insurance companies will just keep sending out the renewals, and the rate just keeps creeping up. Pretty soon, it's all over you. We offer business, commercial general liability. We do workers' comp, auto, homeowners.
Well, Jack, I see you've decided to join us. You've missed the entire commercial. What took you so long?
I got my cape stuck in the door again.
Super Jack needs to stay inside from now on.
Wait a minute.
The Jack Green Insurance Agency in Mobile, 344-5393.
Step up to the firing line. Armed Alabama is back. Questions, comments, and texts at 343-0106.
All right, welcome back to Armed Alabama. This is Judge Rusty Johnston, and let me throw out a trivia question for you first. We're giving away I believe it's a Generation 3 PMAG, and if you don't know what that is, you probably don't want it, but it's a 30-round magazine for an AR-15, as well as a number of other firearms, rifles, carbines that use the 5.56 or 223. Now, the question is this. Either who wrote or where did this following quote come from? These are the times that try men's souls. The summer soldier and the sunshine patriot will, in this crisis, shrink from the service of his country. That's the question. Where did it come from or who wrote it? 343-0106. Call to answer the question, but you can text any questions to that number and any other calls you have or questions, 343-0106.
And be sure and check us out on the web, and that's armedalabama.com. We also have Facebook page, Armed Alabama Radio, FM 106.5, and we also have a Twitter account, Armed Alabama 106.5. And be sure and check out our YouTube account that the judge maintains to great effect. It's really, really great. You can go on there and you can watch all kind of videos and dissertations and information regarding firearms training, the Second Amendment issues, and freedom issues.
Adam, I went on a massive cleaning spell for a lot of my firearms, which was a big mistake probably. But I went down to McCoy, right near me, and I picked up, first of all, a degreaser, because, a lot of the guns had grease in them and sand and all of that. Degreased 6 or 8 guns probably, and cleaned them. But I got everything I needed down there. I got the bore cleaners. I got the brushes. I already had the rods. And by the way, if you're ever cleaning a rifle, carbine, try to get a one-piece rod for that, preferably one that's not metal, because the metal ones that come with it that you screw together usually flex and will scratch the inside of your barrel. But I tell you, I was able to get everything in one place, and that's a little unusual because you usually start shopping and, darn it, they don't have this, they don't have that. But everything was in one place, and had I needed any help, I'm afraid I knew too much, but the helpful people there knew everything you needed. What kind of gun? This is the best thing for that. This is the best thing for that. You can overdo it, as you know, especially with shotguns. But they were just great about it. So McCoy Outdoor Company, located on Spring Hill Avenue, and that's just west of the I-65 overpass in the old K&B drugstore shopping center area on Spring Hill Avenue for all your outdoor needs, not just firearms, anything related to being outdoors. All right. We have a winner on our PMAG giveaway, and I'll just use the first name. Barry won our PMAG. That comes from Thomas Paine's Common Sense, and that was actually read. General Washington was so impressed with what Paine had written that he had it read out loud right before the Americans crossed into Trenton, New Jersey on Christmas Eve night and attacked the Hessian troops. And that was, of course, a big turning point of the war. But, that was snowy and cold, and they were going across there in ice. And, the famous picture, of course, that shows Washington in the boat with the flag and all that. Of course, nobody thinks it really looks like that, but the person holding the flag is supposedly President James Monroe. Now, he was already ahead scouting things out, but at least in the portrait, that's what it was supposed to be. But good to know somebody knows a little something about American history. Poor Paine, though, when he died, 2 people attended his funeral, Thomas Jefferson, and I'm not sure who else, because he kind of got a little too radical and went over to France and participated in their revolution and was even elected to their General Assembly. And but Jefferson had him come back to America, where he spent his dying days. And he's somebody we really shouldn't forget about, because that tract is really a booklet, really inspired Americans to continue with the revolution. Thomas Paine.
Very good, Judge. Thank you. Judge, we discussed a little bit about crime earlier today, and you and I have had numerous conversations about illegal immigration and the crimes that are committed by illegal immigrants.
The federal government says you can't use that term now. It just has to be undocumented people or something like that.
Well, we're not going to be PC on this show.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I announced that.
So I was going to let you know that I was doing a little research on crime. I'm a statistics buff, but Mexican traffickers are responsible for more than 90% of the heroin smuggled into America. 90%.
It used to be the French connection.
Yeah.
Put the French out of the business.
The media dances around the issues, but South American and Mexican illegals are, using our porous borders to bring in, all types of illegal drugs, and they're coming in and committing various crimes.
What really bothers me, when are they going to bring an illegal atomic bomb through the border if they haven't already?
Or anything, it could be chemical weapons or so forth,
right. And when are our when are our congressmen, senators going to do anything about it? Last year they introduced a bill to landmine the border, and that sounds horrifying, but there are plenty of countries in the world that have that. They introduced it, 116 co-sponsors, and yet nobody did anything about it because it was all for show.
Of for 2013, of the 78,022 primary offensive cases, and this is federal crimes that occurred, 38.6% of those were committed by illegal aliens.
And one thing I noticed, Adam, in court, that the aliens that are over here that are honest, and I'm sure there are plenty of them, they become victims of crime more often than us because the criminals know that they won't go and report the crime, and they're often paid in cash. So that's another reason we've got to stop this nonsense about illegal immigration. It creates a kind of a class that can be abused. They can be they don't pay taxes generally, and they'll argue, well, we pay sales taxes. I wish I only had to pay sales taxes. That'd be a nice situation to be in.
Right. And also for some of those statistics for 2013, the Obama administration released 36,000 criminal illegal immigrants who had nearly 88,000 convictions between them. Of those convictions included 193 homicide convictions, 426 sexual assault convictions, 303 kidnappings, and 1,075 aggravated assault convictions.
Now, you're saying release, not deported.
Yes.
Just release.
Yes.
I think that's impeachable.
It's mind-boggling.
And it is. And, the Constitution says that the president shall take care that the laws be faithfully executed. And he's completely violated his oath of office by not taking care that the laws are faithfully executed.
Yeah, and these criminals are not being stopped at the border. These criminals are making it across the border and committing tens of thousands of crime.
Right. For every burglary committed, they estimate that it costs society $15,000. That's in the lost goods, the police investigation, your insurance costs increase. So some people say, why keep people locked up? Well, a burglar will commit 100 burglaries a year. That's why you keep him locked up.
That's a good point. I had no idea the amount was that high.
It's tremendous. It's really tremendous. Thieves especially cost society a lot of money because they steal a lot of property.
Yeah, one of these statistics was for the federal crimes was of the 94 districts of the U.S., 5 states had the most federal crimes committed in the 5 states bordering the Mexican border.
And you don't think it has anything to do with the immigration, do you?
I think it has everything to do with the porous border and the failure of the Obama administration to enforce it.
Well, I'll give you a statistic here. When you go and buy your handgun or whatever, they run the background check. And most of the denials are false positives, I guess you call them. Your name, my name is Johnston with a T, but they understand it wrong and put it in as an S. It hits. Of the 4,000, this is in 2010, 4,732, total of 76,142,000 failed background checks. Only 4,732 cases of those were sent for further investigation. The rest were false, and only 62 of those were actually some type of criminal activity. The rest were just false. The names misspelled, Social Security numbers confused, etc. So when these gun control groups say, we had 76,000 criminals attempt to buy firearms, it's not true.
So we were talking about the Facebook suppressing these conservative views or whatever. The media is also suppressing crimes committed by illegal immigrants.
Oh, sure. Bill O'Reilly was kind of the first person onto that. And, it's just astonishing to me that they wouldn't be more concerned about public safety of their own citizens. But we've got to step into a break in a minute. We'll talk more about that. Our phone lines are still open at 343-0106. Call or text any firearms-related question in. And remember, we need those pictures of those illegal signs.
All right, we'll be back. This is Armed Alabama.
Looking for land, commercial space, or a home to purchase? Or do you have real estate that you would like to sell? Then you need to talk with Mamoon Siddiq at RE/MAX Partners 7221 Grelot Road, Suite B. Mamoon is dedicated to providing his clients trustworthy real estate expertise and professional, dependable service. Whether buying or selling your primary residence or a second home, or relocating to a new neighborhood, Mamoon can help make your home ownership dreams come true. Email Mamoon at remax.net. That's MAMUN at remax.net. If your spine is in a bind, it's time to be aligned. For 20 years, Dr. Justin Foster has been diagnosing and taking care of spinal problems. Misaligned vertebrae can hurt due to a strain or sprain from an accident, or be injured by repeated use and can lead to a pinched nerve if not fixed. Pinched nerves can cause a series of discomforts, including decreased flexibility, headaches, muscle, joint, disc, and nerve pain. Foster Chiropractic of Tillman's Corner, easy to find across from Lowe's off Rangeline. When buying a vehicle, don't waste your valuable time. David Parnell at Palmer's Toyota is committed to getting you the best deal on a new, used, or leased car. And David will do that without wasting your time. Don't play the back and forth game. See David Parnell today. Palmer's Toyota, 470 Schillinger Road South. That's David Parnell at Palmer's Toyota, 639-0800, extension 168. Don't forget to see David Parnell at Palmer's Toyota, Schillinger Road, just south of Airport. He won't waste your time.
Step up to the firing line. Armed Alabama is back. Questions, comments, and texts at 343-0106.
Survival kit contents check. In them you'll find 145 caliber automatic, 2 boxes of ammunition, 4 days concentrated emergency rations, 1 drug issue containing antibiotics, morphine, vitamin pills, pep pills, sleeping pills, tranquilizer pills, 1 miniature combination Russian phrase book and Bible, $100 in rubles, $100 in gold, 9 packs of chewing gum, 1 issue of prophylactics, 3 lipsticks, 3 pair of nylon stockings. Shoot, a fella could have...
That's Major Kong and Dr. Strangelove, played by Slim Pickens, a classic Stanley Kubrick movie. Adam, one thing I noticed when I was on the bench, we would get illegal aliens, and fortunately, most of ours were low-level offenders. First problem we'd run into, we had no translators. There was just no budget for translators, and when we'd have them for, let's say, public drunkenness, it was just basically, go, you're free, because that's how we had to operate, which is just a bad situation. Now, we would call ICE, and ICE would say, what are they charged with? And we'd tell them, and they'd say, let them go. And it was just amazing, and I'm sure it's gotten worse and worse. They changed the immigration law in 1965. It used to favor European immigrants. Now it favors third world immigrants. It needs to favor skilled people that'll benefit this country. And it doesn't necessarily. Of course, we're not paying attention to it anyway if you can just walk across the border.
And there's a lot of nations that have that, where you can immigrate to their country, but you have to be skilled. You have to have
a certain amount of money with you.
Yeah, or some way to benefit that society, right, and not just come in and be a drain on that society. I mean, we all want to have a better life for ourselves and better life for our children, but when you come to this country illegally, you're breaking the law.
Right.
That means you're a criminal.
Well, that's right. And I think we have a call. Let's go ahead and take that. That's Wayne.
Hey, Wayne. Welcome to Armed Alabama.
Okay, Judge, quick question here.
Yeah.
You probably remember a couple of months ago, this guy was pulled up to his apartment complex and was unloading groceries, he and his girlfriend, and this colored guy comes up with a weapon and holds him up. and in the course of events, the victim shoots the perpetrator, who, the way I understood it, run off a little bit and then fell down and apparently died at the scene, and as I understood, had the victim's wallet in his hand. But my question was, if this stands your ground, why is this guy going to the grand jury?
Well, the problem probably is we're not. You and I aren't exactly sure what happened.
Okay. We have all the facts.
Yeah, I'm. You know, it can be. He can stand your ground, but let's just say, for instance, that he had finished robbing the man. I don't know that. This is a hypothetical. Finished robbing the man, and then was turning to flee, and then the man shot him. Well, at that point, he was no longer in imminent fear of his life. Now, I'm not saying that's the case, but that's one hypothetical. So I'm kind of with you. Under a former DA, they presented all fatal shootings to the grand jury, which I thought was very wrong because it put somebody, put an honest person perhaps under a lot of pressure until they were cleared. But, this case is, who knows, it could be a close call.
Right, and if you're in that situation and you think, if I do something, I'm liable to go to the grand jury and 20 years in jail, so maybe I don't do anything. And I thought that was where stand your ground would enable you to defend yourself.
Well, what stand your ground does is the law used to be that start off in your house, anywhere but your house, that you had to retreat rather than take a life.
Right. Then
they fixed the law in your house. You didn't have to retreat in your business. Then they said on the street, you didn't have to retreat. But, they're still going to look at, could you have done it reasonably? And the facts always give, what if you were sitting in your car, the motor's running, and a guy's 100 feet away running at you with a machete saying, I'm going to kill you. Yeah. And all you had to do is put the car in gear and drive off.
Right.
You're legally right, but I tell you, a jury's probably going to convict you because it just doesn't look reasonable.
Right.
So,
okay.
But you know what? You do what you need to do to defend yourself and your family. You worry about everything else later.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Judge.
Yeah.
Thank you, Wayne. And that's one of the things that we actually address in the class, Judge, is what to say, what not to say to law enforcement, what to say, what not to say, or how to frame your statement for a grand jury. When they go, you have to go in front of them, and there's their duty to say bill or no bill.
Yeah, and like I say, years ago, every fatal shooting went to the grand jury, no matter whether it was so justified or not. And I thought that was bad because, good, decent people maybe had to wait a month or two and sweat it out, hire a lawyer, and they're already traumatized if you're a decent person, you've killed somebody. And then to further put you through going through a grand jury, but that's the call of the prosecutor, and fortunately, there are very few cases ever prosecuted around here on real self-defense shootings.
I just want to bring up, if you want to text or call in this show or our next show, the call is, to make the call is 343-0106, and check out our Facebook page, Armed Alabama Radio FM 106.5, and our website, armedalabama.com, and we have lots of interesting things and articles to read on there, and you can also go on there and listen to our previous shows. All our shows are uploaded on that website, and you can listen to them at your leisure.
And if you know how to do it, on iTunes and Stitcher, but I don't know how to do that. But they're available. I think this is our 10th show, so 9th or 10th show, so you'll have that many shows that you can either listen to or download.
Yes, and the judge always lists these shows as well on YouTube. So you can go to Armed Alabama YouTube account, and you can listen to those shows again at your leisure.
And remember, we're looking for any signs that say no guns except in the obvious places which the code provides for courthouses, police stations, etc. If they're on a filling station, on a business, and I'm especially interested in ones that might have a public official's name on it. None of these signs are provided for by law, but I certainly would like to know about any that have a public official's name on it because, quite frankly, that's fraudulent to do that.
Yeah, so you want to take a picture of that sign, and you can email it to report at armedalabama.com.
Reports.
Excuse me.
Because we expect to get lots of reports. And take us a good picture. You know, these cameras, don't do it on the angle. Get right level with it and take that picture and give us 2 or 3. And we have Fred on the line. Let's try to get Fred in.
Quickly, Fred, how are you doing?
Doing well. Judge and Adam, I love your show.
Thank you.
About 3 weeks ago, we were talking about the availability of ammunition, certain calibers, pretty hard to find. One in specific that I was interested in was a .22 Magnum.
Right.
I go to these many different gun shops. I'm a gun. I'm not going to say gun nut, but I love my guns and ammo. And if I could find it, they might sell you 1 50-round box and limit you at that. That was insufficient. I took your advice, Judge and Adam.
Mm-hmm.
I went online. I found a place out of all places, Montana, and of all places called the United Nations Ammunition Company.
I've bought a lot of shotgun shells from them, as a matter of fact. I was kind of wary of the name.
I was too. I was wary of it too, but I said, no, I'm going to go ahead and check it out. Well, Judge, I was able to get 2 500 round bricks from them of A number 1 .22 Magnum ammunition. It feeds perfectly in my Kel-Tec PMR 30, and I trust that gun now, and that's what I use my carry gun.
Good for you.
All right. Thank you, Fred. We appreciate it.
Good.
Thank you for calling in.
Try to patronize the local businesses, but if they don't have what you need, the Internet has some good places. That's one thing we hand out in our class, Internet links that I know are safe.
And speaking of patronizing local business, be sure to patronize our sponsor and advertisers. We personally vetted each one of these advertisers, and without their support and their advertisement purchase, we would not be on the air. And that's David Parnell at Palmer's Toyota, Justin Foster at Foster Chiropractic of Tillman's Corner, Mamoon Siddiq at Remax Realtors, and McCoy Outdoors Company. We appreciate their support. We appreciate them advertising on our radio show. If you would like to advertise your business on Armed Alabama, please email us, or you can call the station. You can email us at Armed Alabama. That's Adam at armedalabama.com and the judge at armedalabama.com. So join us next week for our show, and we appreciate you joining us. This is Armed Alabama.
When I was a little bitty baby, my mama would rock me in that cradle in them old cotton fields back home. Oh, when them cotton bolls get rotten, you couldn't pick very much cotton in them old cotton fields back home.
Mobile Bay Coins, this is Ron. How may I help you?
Hey, Ron, it's Dave. Did you know there was a difference between guest towels and a regular bath towel?
Yep, sure I do. I remember sleeping on the couch the night I cleaned the bicycle with one, and the other time I put the turkey fryer on one.
Man, is the missus mad. I took the kids out fishing, told them to grab some towels, we cleaned the fish and wiped the boat down, and who knew her